Hello and welcome back to Planet Nibiru, where anything is possible. This video brought to you by dialaplate.org, the automotive phone book. Do you believe in God? Well, now isn't that the question of the day? Maybe even of a lifetime. It's such a huge and important question that I don't think you can answer it lightly. No, I think you have to take your time and really think about it, and what it means before you can attempt to answer it. Do you believe in God? I've been asked many times in real life and here on my channel. Although, many will blindly answer yes or no and blame faith for their answer in both cases. I think it takes a bit more to truly define what that question is and what the question is looking for. Personally, I don't like the question. On its face, it is an attempt to lock you into one side or the other of a binary argument. The problem is that God, as I define him, and I think as many others define him as well, is much, much larger than any binary definition can ever be. God is infinite. Infinity can never be defined by any amount of numbers, much less two. When you are locked into a position, you have no freedom to move and explore. Therefore, any real discussion or exploration isn't possible because you've locked yourself into this position. God is defined in a myriad of ways in Christianity alone, let alone all the other religions of the world. So, with so many definitions out there, how can we answer this question with a simple yes or a no? Can we answer this question with a yes or a no in a way that is meaningful to all who ask it? No, I don't think so. At least myself, I don't believe I cannot. I answer this question in the best way that I can because I haven't worked through all of these possibilities yet, and I maybe never will. My answer, though, is that I live as though God is real. Now, let that sink in for just a second. I live as though God is real. Is that an answer to this question? Maybe. Maybe it is. Those who don't have the patience or the time to intellectually investigate the issue may take that as an answer. Many will see it as a yes. Those who want things wrapped up in neat little packages might take that as a yes or a no, because it's a simple answer. But honestly, it's not a simple question. And it's not an answer to the question as much as a statement of where I am in my search for truth. Because I think that we are all in a search for truth in this life. We are all looking for the meaning of life. Why are we here? What are we supposed to do? These answers don't come wrapped up as neat little packages. They're very complex and very deep questions that must be discussed, dissected, and looked at with fresh eyes, even if those fresh eyes are in old, worn-out faces. When I say it that I live as though he exists, I mean that on a couple of different levels. First and foremost, I mean it personally. I conduct myself in my personal affairs as though God is real, and as though I may one day be judged on all my actions, according to what I know is right and wrong in the eyes of a benevolent God. Again, I do not limit or align my definition of God to any religion or any doctrine. When I say a benevolent God, I mean a universal understanding of the meaning of the word good, loving, and caring. That is all. Second, and perhaps more importantly and interestingly, I mean that all people act as though he is real. Okay, so I know that many people will start howling and saying, oh, I don't believe in God, and I don't think he exists, and there are many places that don't believe in God, and cultures, etc., etc., and I know this, and I understand this. However, bear with me as I lay this out for you, and I think that you may agree in spirit, if nothing else. What I mean by all people act as though he exists. Look at the act of sharing. The act of sharing is one that we all take for granted and as a good thing. It's the right thing to do, no? Your mother and father or grandparents or teachers they've all taught you to share with others. However, when you think of it, the act of sharing goes directly against your best interests. To give away a portion of the things that you have collected to use for yourself is not in your best interests. When we look at nature, very rarely do you see animals sharing. Maybe if there's a big kill, you may see some large animals sharing the spoils. However, many times they were all involved in that kill in some way. So it's not sharing as much as a mutual effort and mutual gain. More often than not, you will see animals keeping their kill or food for themselves. Many times you'll even find them stealing or taking each other's food. We call this the law of the jungle, kill or be killed, the circle of life and all that. We act, though, as if it doesn't apply to humans, but it most certainly does. And that is why we have to teach children to share. To share is to act in a way that goes against our own instinct. The same concept can be applied to lying. Why do we say it is wrong to lie? A lie conceals a truth that may be detrimental to us. It makes our lives easier by avoiding conflict or avoiding consequence or some other situation that we generally do not want to happen. So lying has a value for us. What value does telling the truth have? It will often lead to a consequence or situation that is unfavorable to us. So if telling the truth will often lead to an unfavorable outcome, and lying will often lead to a favorable outcome, why would we act against our own self-interest? Look at stealing. To have all the things that we need or want in life is the most favorable situation that we can find ourselves in as humans. With our needs and desires met, we should by all measure be happy and content. How we obtain them is irrelevant for the most part. In the animal kingdom, stealing is as casual and common as eating. It happens day and night with no consequence or reward. It's just another part of the natural cycle of life. I could go on with these examples, but by now you should see my point. There are a great many things that we all do as a race of beings, humanity that is. And we do these things that are in no way beneficial to us out of what we call morality. But morality is more than just things that we do that aren't good for us. There's a reason behind it. There's more to it. And that reason, I suggest, is that we are all acting in a belief that there is some higher power or an accounting for our actions. And when we account for our actions, we want them to seem benevolent or good. We want to ensure that we are deemed good or worthy, so that if there is a gift of eternal life or bliss or 100 virgins and a cow or whatever reward there is, if it does in fact exist, then we are ensuring that we get it. Likewise, we also want to ensure that if there is some form of punishment, like hell or a lake of fire or separation from God, that we do not get that applied to us. And that is my take on the question. A question that I do not like. One that I hesitate to answer for many reasons, but lack of definition being chief amongst those. A question that so many have asked and so many have answered, and because of that they have been judged and ridiculed and loved or hated. A question that countless people have died for and because of. And now I ask you, honestly and intellectually, and with thought and concern, how do you answer this question? Where does it take you? What do you do with it? I thank you all for watching. I appreciate every one of your comments, likes, and subscriptions. Please drop a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and we look forward to seeing you again in our next video.